Hello, hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for joining us in this new roundtable, which we're going to be speaking about construction projects in Ecuador. Basically, we had a roundtable on Tuesday where we had the opportunity to speak with realtors. Part of the planification for this week was to have that first and then having these construction projects second. And this week it was because we wanted to have a general idea of what type of projects are what is the new trendy on projects. So for that reason, we have invited in this opportunity Darío Herrera from Montecristi Golf, Wendy Chan from Oceanside Farms in Puerto Cayo, Ricardo Zambrano, who is a developer in Manta. Actually, they're building Edificio Monaco. And we have a special guest, which is the Leopoldo Ocampo. He's the acting president of CAMICON, which is the construction industry chamber. They're based in Quito. So, and also we have one guest. He's from Cuenca, which is very important part for the expat community here. Is Juan Heredia. And Juan, his background, he has been building projects which they are different with the common developers they do in Cuenca. So we're going to start this very quick because we have some of the panelists that they need to leave. Darío is going to start first. So Darío, can you please explain us a little bit more about Montecristi Golf and what the challenges for you as a developer, as a developing in Ecuador as a developing country, what are the new challenges regarding the new labor laws, or how are you handling labor, and how are you going to be promoting your project, especially with materials and all that? Could you please explain us a little bit what is happening right now with Montecristi?
Thank you, Marco. I just want to check, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, good afternoon to everyone, to Ricardo and Wendy and Leopoldo. Nice to meet you all. Also, Jason. We know we are going through times of uncertainty. Everything is upside down. I believe the first question we need to answer is, what will be the new normality, or what will be the new normal once we adjust to this new way of living under pandemic or future pandemics in the future. So I'm going to be able to tell you what we have seen so far from our customers. We have a very large database of customers, what they're requiring, what their initial aspirations are as far as new products and new developments. They are going to value less density. That means they will look into purchasing properties that can offer more area, more value, more quality of life. Different than apartment buildings in a very dense and central area. That's number one. Number two, we have seen that the desire to own a home, which as a tendency was going down because of the millennials that are more travelers, it's now becoming more predominant. They would like to own a home. And if somebody is not ready to make a decision or the commitment to buy a home, I think they're thinking really well about it right now in order to purchase a home or a piece of property once we go back to a certain normality. So what is the product? You know, what should we do? We started already. we're going to be offering houses that can be in some way eco-friendly. That includes a private garden. It has been the norm at Montecristi Gulf, by the way. We have more than 60 families living here already for a couple of years, and more than 600 clients that purchase lots. Well, most of them have said, I'm going to start building my house. Some of them have called and said, do you have a house that I can buy and move in right now? Some of the ones that didn't buy have called and have regretted not buying. They said, I wish I had bought it, because then now I would be living there and I would be enjoying the quality of life. I live here, and the quarantine period has been different for me than if I had lived in an apartment building. So it hasn't been that hard. People that live here have already started growing growing their own tomatoes and trees and so on. So this has been a very important experience, because now the product that we created and the value that we said that was going to exist is here at Montecristi was actually delivered to them, and the clients were able to enjoy it. So we're going to focus our construction, our new products in that tendency, Marco.
Yeah, Dario. On our last session, we saw that, but regarding the construction, because I can see among our attendees, there's some developers, and what are the biosecurity challenges you have, or it is requested, because you have been authorized as Montecristi to start construction, and construction is a very important part of the economy because it gives cash right away to people in so much need right now. So can you please enlighten us about it?
Sure. Very quickly. Yes, our project was approved to be one of the 29 private projects to start as a pilot in the country. So we're going to start next week on Monday. This week we have prepared everything. We didn't want to start right away. The authorization came on Sunday afternoon, so we were not ready to start Monday. And we're going to continue building our homes in the subdivision that we started. We are part of the group 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐵𝑉𝑖𝐿. So 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐵𝑉𝑖𝐿 has been working constantly during this outbreak, the pandemic. So all those security and biosecurity measures that they have done in 𝐿𝐴𝐹𝐵𝑉𝑖𝐿, we are going to do over here at Montecristi, following the protocol that as a matter of fact, our company was involved together with 𝐂𝐼MICA, one of the largest construction companies in Ecuador. We were involved in writing the protocol that we suggested to the government, based on which they actually issued the final protocol. So we contributed to that protocol. So we're going to follow it because we made it, and also because we have one main goal as a company is first is the safety of our employees. Second can come anything, but first is the safety of our employees and their health. So we've been tracking the health of each and every one of our employees in the whole group together, including us, and not only the employees, but also their families and the people that live with them. So I can tell you we have 144 employees, and we have 567 people that live with these 144 employees, and we know the health status of each and every one of them every week. So we do a survey every week, and we know exactly what's going on with each and every one of them, because you have to go the extra mile. You know, I don't know if all companies are going to be able to do it, and the protocol might not say it. Like the protocol doesn't say that you are allowed or you are obligated to do a fast test for COVID, but we're going to do it. Every Monday, we're going to do a fast test to determine antibodies on the employees, and every 7 days we'll do it. And if somebody shows that the person has antibodies, then we'll take the necessary precautions and send them home for 7 days. And depending on what stage they are in the illness, then we would suggest and advise them. So everything is ready to do that, and we have to set the example, because eventually somebody might start. There's like about 100 projects following ours. Apart from the 29, there's going to be like about 100 projects that are already applying. But it depends on us as a pilot to actually manage these safety precautions so that everybody else can start right after. And I think we're going to do great. I think we're ready for it.
Yeah, good. Andrea, I have two final questions. One is a question that I would like to hear from you. What a message do you have for those people who are still thinking on coming to live here in Ecuador? I know you mentioned something about, yeah, you are having more space, but Montecristi Gulf, it has a privilege. It has a good location here on the coast. We're near to the airport. On the last session, we have heard that we have been listening for the airport is going to be operating internationally. But at some point, this is going to happen because what is happening in other parts of the country, I have to be honest, because we have basically three developers from Manabí, and we have a developer from Cuenca. What is happening in Guayaquil, I just was watching the news that they're trying to get into their public transportation system. It is hard, but that Guayaquil doesn't reflect what Ecuador is. There are other parts of Ecuador that we're doing good. I mean, we are taking the precautions, but also other places that are completely safe, like for example in Oceanside Farms. So can you please give us a message for those people listening outside of Ecuador?
Sure, and I thank the panelists. I apologize to take the microphone and hold it forever. The thing is, I have to leave at 2:30 for another Zoom that I have, so I apologize for this. The message, I think, will be as everyone else's. We, as a country, I believe we have the capability of building and developing specific and special products for everyone abroad. We're blessed with a great weather. We're blessed with still empty beaches, and most important, excellent people. We're blessed. I think one of or the second or the third friendliest countries in the world. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you go to Cuenca or you go to Ocean Farm, which I really love your product, Wendy, or you come to Montecristi. I think that we as a country, as developers, we're ready to receive those people that want to come and live here. Okay, the same goes for Ricardo with his product in Mante. He builds excellent apartment buildings. So I believe that we are ready for that. Okay, we have received recently many calls from clients from abroad and also clients from Cuenca that are preparing now to come to the coast. If they come to Ocean Farm or they come to Montecristi, and if they play golf, they're going to end up playing golf here. So I don't mind, okay? So it doesn't matter, Wendy, okay? They're all invited. I mean, we have to think that it's not only my project that needs to win over the rest. It's completely the opposite. It's a complement, okay? So we have so much land to develop. We have close to 1,000 hectares of land. We're building a city of 30,000 people in 30-40 years. So we're not in a hurry, okay? We have a lot of time to develop and to create more products that fit the needs and expectations of our clients. So that will be my message, is just give us a call, give Wendy a call, give to all the people that are watching, just give us a call, explore the opportunities, see what our products we have that we can deliver to you, and make your own choice. But we'll be ready to have you over, okay?
Thank you. And Jason actually has a question right now. I would like you to answer. So Jason, can you please help us with that question from the attendees?
Yes, thank you, Marcos. Everybody can hear me? Dario, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, so Dario, the question that I have for you is pertaining to the partnership with the University of San Francisco de Quito and Montecristi Golf Club. Has there been any updates in the progress with that partnership during this pandemic that you could speak about briefly?
Yes, of course. We had a huge meeting on Friday, March 13th, and that was right before the lockdown. And so everybody from the University of San Francisco was here on that Friday. We had a huge meeting with a mayor of Montecristi, mayor of Manta, some asambleístas. So everybody supporting the project, a lot of business people as well. And I'm sad to say this, that was the last meeting held, a formal last meeting held by my boss, who passed away due to this virus. Okay, so I've talked to the president of University of San Francisco thereafter, and if they were committed before, now they are more committed to doing this project, not because of what Carlos, my boss, represented for the project and his vision, but also because it is what the province needs, and it is what the data is showing as far as having a good business down here and educating people. Okay, so we are continuing with the process of qualification of this university with the authorities in Quito. But additionally to that, the University of San Francisco is right now ready, if the authorities allow it, to start on the 1st of September their business school, which is continuing education, like for older people or somebody has already a degree and wants to update some knowledge. So they want to start that business school at Montecristi Golf using our existing facilities, the meeting rooms, the restaurants, and everything, to start already providing classes. They will not be undergrad classes. This is continuing education, okay? But they want to start with that on the 1st of September. That's their plan. Now, they were supposed to start building or start construction on this university this October, in the area selected and everything. I believe that's going to be delayed, of course. Okay, how long? I don't know. Really, it all depends on what happens in the next few months. But the desire, the commitment is there. They are not going back on this, and we're moving forward with them, and that's good news for the Montecristi and also for the province.
Great.
True.
Thank you, Dario.
True. Thank you, Dario. And I would like to continue with Leopoldo Ocampo. He is the president of the industry of the construction industry chamber. So, Leopoldo, I guess you have a translator there. Otherwise, Jason can help us with the translation. So, Jason, can you please help us? Okay.
Creo que está en mute, Leopoldo, no se escucha.
Ya, está silenciado.
Ahí, aló, ¿me escuchan ahí?
Ahí, aló, ¿me escuchan ahí?
Sí. Sí, gracias. Necesito de la traducción, por favor.
Ok, yo le ayudo, pero
Okay,
vamos haciendo pausas.
Por supuesto. Primero, indicar que la Cámara de la Construcción, a la cual yo soy presidente, tenemos 12,000 constructores de todo nivel en todo el quehacer de la construcción. En ese sentido, hay proyectos igual de todo nivel, para que nosotros podamos poner a las órdenes y al servicio. Contamos con un departamento técnico totalmente capacitado, el cual nosotros todos los días vamos actualizando los precios y somos los referentes a nivel de costos, a nivel de país. Cuando alguien tiene alguna duda de costos, pues nosotros somos los que tenemos esos valores al día que podemos poner al servicio.
Okay, so perfecto. Leopoldo is the president of CAMICON, which is a group out of Quito that represents 12,000 builders nationwide from different provinces throughout the country. And they have a technical department that controls the cost of building supplies and monitors what things should cost and making sure that organizations are falling in line with the proper building techniques and costs throughout the nation.
Sí. Han llegado a nosotros una infinidad de proyectos, los cuales obviamente muchos están truncados y paralizados por el tema de financiamiento. Y el tema este de la emergencia en salud hoy por hoy ha hecho que se los vea un poco más lejanos. En todo caso, nosotros aspiramos a ver cómo puede haber una conjunción para ver si podemos emprender tanta necesidad de que existe aquí en el Ecuador, en todos los sectores, que estamos predispuestos mejor y abiertos a escuchar en qué podemos hacer un aporte y en conjunto poder dar pasos adelante en pos de mejores días de vida a los sectores en los que sean susceptibles que se proponga aquí.
Okay, so CAMICON is, as many construction companies are in the same situation, is essentially on hold right now due to predominantly the global pandemic that we're facing, as well as some financing difficulties moving forward with projects. Nonetheless, they're looking for opportunities to help out with the more susceptible sectors of population, whether it be donations or projects that they can get involved in to help people kind of weather the storm of the current pandemic.
En todo caso, es mi primera parte y estoy ávido de escuchar mejor cuál es la modalidad de esto, cómo podemos irnos engranando y estamos con las puertas abiertas. Mejor quisiera que den paso al resto de expositores para poder tomarlo, si se quiere el término yo, el hilo y el ritmo de esta conversación y ver en dónde podemos engranarnos en conjunto. Sí.
So Leopoldo is going to turn it over to the rest of the panelists, and looking forward to hearing some of the opinions of the rest of the folks that are participating today, and looking forward to having the opportunity of helping out where they can, combating the global pandemic that we're facing currently.
Okay, muchas gracias. Okay, we will continue with Wendy Chan from Oceanside Farms and Residences. Wendy, just to give a brief summary of you. I have known you for, I guess, 2 years now. We have been working for you in the legal side for immigration documents, and you have a very interesting background, which I would like you to share, and also share information about Oceanside. What is the vision you have, especially because you're coming from New York. Right now, New York has been the center of the pandemic, as the news are mentioning that. So, Wendy, could you please tell us more about you and Oceanside as well, please?
Everyone, this is a very interesting time, in my opinion, because I actually took the last flight out from JFK to Guayaquil on March 15th. And, you know, we changed that date because, you know, it was supposedly later in the month, but then we thought, okay, there may be a quarantine. So we moved 14 days, and then we realized that, oh, the airport will be shut and that flight has been canceled. So we scrambled, and literally was like 12 hours before the flight, we got the ticket. And people were asking us, you know, why are you leaving New York? And off the bat, we have invested heavily in Ecuador because we believe in this to be a lifestyle that is bringing health and happiness. And we have the fresh air, the beautiful environment, and to what you just said, Dario, friendly country, and we have encountered a lot of friendly people. So what moved us is that this is a little country that could, it's not like a giant, big country that is very much on the news, but it is a country that's full of goodness. And I can say because when we started conceptualizing this project, the word agrihood was not even coined. So when we were invited by some of the architects to brainstorm on this front, because I came from a food background, everybody agreed that new development should integrate food as part of the whole concept. Because more and more, we see the need of having food security, and it's very vulnerable system that we have because of a massive supply chain.
Wendy, I'm going to interrupt you because we have to say goodbye and to Dario. I want to thank you again for your time, and I know you're a very, very busy person, so thank you for being with us today.
We'll see you, Dario. Okay, thank you. So back to, the term agrihood is involving some kind of a community that's centered around food production. And so we took the step of realizing that we don't just talk the talk, but we want to walk the walk. And this is kind of like a small scale development, which we hope will aspire other people to do the same. So we don't see it as competition. We believe that rising tide lifts all boats. And I think Ecuador has been underplaying its very valuable assets. And they are being very good with the environment. They're the ones with the constitution that protects the rights of nature. It's one of the 17 most mega diverse countries in the world. And they have a wonderful, vibrant current, the Humboldt current that produces a lot of food in the ocean. And for people who love nature, who love to and respect nature, they would appreciate, they would definitely appreciate Ecuador, because Ecuador is famous for the Galapagos for sure, but beyond that, we have so much more to offer. And I think it's just underplayed. And then the trend also, because 5-6 years ago, we saw a lot of people very much jumping onto farm to table. But then, it's not just individuals, but it became something that even businesses are jumping into. How can we cut down the carbon footprint of delivering food, fresh food? So, that has evolved to the point where the latest I heard before the pandemic was that Singapore Airlines actually served food that is grown literally just a mile away from the airport. So it's like, everybody is demanding fresher food, which is more local, so you cut down the carbon footprint. And the concept of oceanside farms is one that we believe for it to be sustainable and for people to actually love living there, it has to be enjoyable. It has to be pleasurable. And so we really made it into a very high-end, kind of a couture level so that we can actually inspire people. And then the whole farm is going to be with different sizes of homes to fit the individuals. And we really love diversity because we want people to bring in ideas, passion, knowledge, resources, and we build on it. And we see that there's so many exciting opportunities available. So when people say, how's Ecuador doing? I said, it's doing very well. You just need to research and see for yourself. And I think, right now, the pandemic has taught us several things. One was mentioned by Dario, that you can actually remotely work, and that opens up a lot of opportunities for even younger people to come to live in Ecuador. Second of which is that high density apartment lifestyle is now going to be rethought, because some people will think, I want more open space, and I want to have nature as part of, you know, the lifestyle. And scientists have also proven that even with the pandemic, majority of the people, the deaths occurred in places where it's supposedly much more polluted. So they are trying to find a correlation. So, and people also believe that lifestyle and food is medicine. We should not just reach out for the medicine cabinet when you actually have a lifestyle that supports your own immune system to work perfectly, and we would be able to have a more healthful and happy life, and therefore less dependent on pharmaceuticals. So North Americans have the tendency of like worry about, especially in America, worried about healthcare. And I joke that in America, we have sick care. We don't have healthcare because we don't understand the concept of wellness. They don't believe that you can actually be well if you do not abuse your body and the environment. So hopefully Oceanside Farms is one where you can actually experience that. And we have been building kind of like a farm kitchen, originally designed to just entertain some of the guests. And soon it became a favorite spot for really well-known chefs, locally as well as abroad. So we have a pipeline of chefs demonstrating how to use some of these wonderful ingredients that are harvested feet away from the farm, from the kitchen. And so we have a series which we call Mindful Gastronomy, because we believe that all the choices you make will have an impact on your own health and that of the planet. So every dish is explained, every dish is thoughtfully put together. And that has been really building up until we have to cancel due to the pandemic. But remarkably, the chefs who are scheduled for later said they are gung-ho, they are coming, they really are anxious. So I see it as an opportunity instead of just worried about, you know, of course, life will be quite different. Travel will be definitely different. But as I was telling Marcos earlier, I said, it looks like more and more countries will have their own way of checking on the passengers and arrivals, and some kind of a health screening or even a health clearance will be required. So air travel may mean that you have to go through certain things in order to enter a country, and every country may be different, and therefore travelers in the past may hit Peru, may hit Ecuador, may hit another, you know, Central American country, but chances are there will be one single origin. They will visit one country, and we should all the more tell people the wonderful things that Ecuador can offer, so they can stay longer. If they had only been informed that this is there are like 1,600 birds, you know, types of birds, one of the best birding places on Earth, and there are like 4,400 butterflies and moths out there. And I think, you know, people will be intrigued. So I hope, you know, nature and people can all come together. You know, we respect the habitat, we respect the ecosystem, and that's a better way to live.
Wendy, you have a very interesting concept there, Oceanside Farms. You have the concept from the farm to the table, which is very unique. And there's some restaurants in Quito which they're doing that right now. It's very trendy. So could you please tell us where that idea came from, and how do you plan to bring more people to Ecuador in terms of marketing ideas? Or I know as a country we should team together with other developers. This is, as Dario said, it is not just one developer. They want to build something better than the other. Maybe Juan Heredia from Cuenca, he can because he's on the same line of concept, will giving us some ideas. So Wendy,
Yes.
what is your answer on that?
I would say this, there are so many pieces of, farm to table or even dock to dish, and, farmers market, there are chefs growing their own food, hotels, having a rooftop garden, even keeping bees and things like that. They are all wonderful. So all we need to do is to connect the dots and create that tsunami of interest. Because right now, what we can do on our own may generate some ripples. We have good, very famous, kind of culinarians, writers, and reporters willing to come, eager to come. They pay their own trip to come, and because they're so eager to experience that. And I have to add one more thing to the farm. Our farm is not like just a generic farm. If you're looking for just lettuce, tomatoes, and beans and corn, you'll be disappointed. Why is that? We have adopted permaculture. We believe that there's a better way to grow. And we joined a number of chefs, a growing number of chefs who are trying to restore some of the flavors that have been lost because of commercialization, because of convenience for the marketers and the food chain supply. Who knew that there are many, many colors of carrots? You only see one in your supermarket. And we try to do that. We try to bring back the flavors. We try to bring back the variety and the diversity that makes plant food amazing. And the preparations with all the chefs who came, they continuously kind of wowed us with their imagination. Who would have thought a humble onion can become like a star dish? When this chef who said, I love this, and he asked for 40 kilos of salt, sea salt. And I said, what do you do with that? And he said, I'm going to coat each one, the onion, with the salt. That's the local salt. And then he had them on the burner right there on the farm. It's roasted. And the aroma and the flavor was just absolutely amazing. So more and more chefs in America have been doing that as well. Dan Barber has been really leading the charge of sustainability and really preaching to more people to eat thoughtfully, mindfully. So I hope we can join forces to create that message, because we need to have a good image out there. I always believe that don't just meet the expectation, but exceed the expectation. That's when people will see the results. Because when you do something that they expect, they will say, good, and then they forget about it. But if you did something that is so mind-blowing good, they will remember it. And I just wanted to add one more thing. I've been working with the South Korean government's agricultural promotion boards and all these exporting entities. And I started working with them in the early 2000s. And that was the time when people would pinch their nose and say, kimchi, I don't like it. And ginseng, what was that? And so they somehow decided that I would be a good person to help them bring a strategy together to create popularity for their cuisine. So I took that as a wonderful challenge, because I was able to see it with a pair of eyes that's very different from the local people or the South Koreans who grew up with that food. The way I look at it is this has promise, and they don't understand. So I hope I can also kind of borrow that and help Ecuador, because that's second nature to me. I've been promoting a lot of different other countries, but I think South Korea has stood out as a very good example. Small country, again, they're very determined, and I think they have assets that they didn't realize they have. Same thing with Ecuador. You guys have a lot of assets, diamond in the rough. You just need somebody to kind of put it together, package it, do a runway show that is going to wow all the people. That is what I hope we can achieve.
Yeah. Yeah, and while you were speaking, we have been watching some renderings and some actual pictures of the construction at Oceanside Farms. But right now, we can keep talking about this amazing project. But right now, I would like to ask Juan Heredia from in Cuenca, because you're in the same concept, and we would like to see what is the perspective in Cuenca. What is happening in Cuenca right now? I know COVID, it has been keeping us busy with what's going to happen with biotechnology, biosecurity, I'm sorry, but also at the same time, we need to know what Ecuador assets. We need to realize that as a country, Ecuador has so much to offer. And at the end, I know we will have some questions for you, Wendy, but Juan, could you please tell us more about what is your project about and what is the message from a developer in Cuenca for all those people in North America seeking to come and start living a sustainable way of life?
Thank you very much, Marcos, and hello to everybody else. Those of you who are in the panel and those of you that are listening to us. Well, things in Cuenca are also, Cuenca is also affected like the rest of the country. However, we see a little bit of calm here in general. I live in the old town, as most of the projects that we do are located at, and we see that most of the rules are being respected in the quarantine rules. We see that there's a very little traffic around the area. So Cuenca, of course, it has a lot of problems in the hospitals. But we're fortunate to be in a city that talking about Cuenca itself, now talking about our projects and most important about our clients are thinking about right now. I have talked to clients who had bought in our projects, and most of them, basically what they are saying is that they are happy to be in Cuenca, and are happier that being there than maybe abroad, and that maybe in North America. They feel much, even if our healthcare is probably less technology efficient, but they feel much more confident being here than being abroad. That's a testimonial that I have heard from my clients, and I'm sure that in areas like Manabí or like in Puerto Cayo, where Wendy's at, you will be hearing the same sort of feeling too. And that makes me confident about the recovery when things go back to normal, to the new normality, as we are calling nowadays. Let me explain about our projects. We are a small developer that has done apartment projects in the old town of Cuenca. Basically, we had bought properties which needed to be either rehabilitated or land properties where we have developed new projects. Our market in the beginning, our market in the first project that we developed was mostly foreigners, about 80% foreigners. And as we have gone on, from Casa San Sebastián to Casa Juan Jaramillo, the second one, to the newer projects, which are Casa del Nogal and Casa del Ciprés, we have found more of a mix between locals and foreigners buying into our projects. And that makes us very happy too, because having a mix of locals and foreigners is quite satisfactory for us. Now, what is the situation for our projects right now? And also, to give you an idea, our projects are between, let's say, the first project that we did was about 10 apartments, and the last project that we finished, Casas del Ciprés, had 26 apartments and 9 commercial stores. We are now doing a new development project also in the old town, only 2 blocks away from Cuenca's new cathedral, for those of you who know Cuenca. and only 1 block away from the 𝐂𝐻𝐿𝐵𝑉𝑖𝐻𝐵 River. Now, what is the situation about our current clients for the new project? Well, basically, we have already a good amount of, we have a good percentage of sales achieved by now. And basically, our customs are being communicated by us by the things that we're doing. Of course, we're not working. Our project stopped 6-7 weeks ago. We're sustaining our workers in their homes, and and basically what we're doing at this time is communicating our clients through our social network about what are the things that are going on in the city, and showing a little bit about our projects. And basically they seem to be confident. I like the way that nobody has said, I'm kind of thinking on backing up on what I'm doing. No, actually, they're all hoping that things will go back to normality, and they will be here with us. And so I have high hopes. I'm probably too positive about it, but I have high hopes that things will recover for us too.
Yes, I have to agree with you. I personally think that human nature, us as part of this society, we have the tools to come up with new ideas on how to promote, how to develop for under the new normal, what you mentioned before. So Juan, in Cuenca, I have received a question where someone was asking in a message that the Ecuador in 2010, 2011 was the first place to retire according to specialized magazines. During the last 3 years, this question says, during the last 3 years, Ecuador has seen a decrease of a number of expats from North America seeking to start living here. Is that a tendency, or this is not accurate?
To answer your questions, yes, I think as everybody, as everything else, I think it's a way of trends. Many people are searching for other places. Like I know some of our clients have moved to Portugal, other ones have moved to Medellin, Colombia, other ones have moved to Spain. But I don't see a big percentage on that happening. What I do see, though, is that more people are thinking a little bit more before making the decision into buying. What I'm trying to say with that is that people coming to Cuenca, especially, which is the market that I know, hasn't decreased. Besides our development projects, I have rental apartments. I have 4 rental apartments right from the year 2007. And my apartments have had the same percentage of accommodation. It hasn't gone down in that sense. What I'm trying to say with that is that people keep on coming. Probably the sales percentage has gone down a little bit. I don't think the amount of people have decreased. In my particular point of view, seeing it from Cuenca.
All right. Well, thank you. Yes, and I think Jason has a question. Please, Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, Juan. Really briefly, you spoke about your current construction projects being on hold. Has the government in Cuenca on the municipal level given you guys any idea when you'll be green lighted to start developing and reinitiating construction projects in Cuenca?
Not officially, but I think it will be in 2 weeks. I don't think we're going to have that green light for May the 4th, which is the official date when the government has allowed for some businesses to go back. But I'm hoping that 11th, and maybe Ingeniero Ocampo can give us a better idea. Of course, every city has a has a different a date. But I think, and I'm hoping for Cuenca to start slowly in the construction businesses on the 11th.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And right now, I would like to continue with Ricardo Zambrano. Ricardo, can you please explain us a little bit what is happening in Manta? I know that you have an experience on the construction materials, and also we would like to hear more about the project, because basically you have trusted in this area to build. So what is happening right now in Manta with the construction business?
Okay, there you go. Sorry. Good afternoon to all the panelists. Thank you for the invitation. Well, of course, as all the builders and constructors, we are all waiting for the government to announce how are we going to handle the reinsertion in all businesses, and in this case in the construction. So as of now, right now, there's not much going on. So we are still waiting. Manta is a city that has been developing and growing for the last, I would say, 20 years. So it's a very interesting place. Our company has 30 years in the construction market. I am actually third generation, and we have been doing several projects, houses for a middle class segment, houses for a lower class segment, and also for high class segment. So for every segment, and we have an expertise that can tell us that as of right now, as Dario was saying before he leaves, he was saying that of course everything changed right now. The consumer changed, the form or the way to purchase or buy a property or anything has totally changed in a way that decisions have been changing over these past few weeks with the pandemic. And of course, construction is one of them, because now people is asking, okay, I have been losing all this time, and they have realized, and we as a humanity have realized that we are so fragile that time goes on and we don't make important decisions. Decisions like to purchase a home, for example, to provide to my family, to leave something for my family, for my kids. And of course, that's something that people is viewing. We cannot predict the future. That is absolutely impossible. But of course, it is gonna have to depend on several factors. Of course, external factors and what the government will do in the short term or the middle term in order to reestablish or empower the economy through the construction. I think construction is the sector that is called to boost the economy, because all that it generates directly and indirectly, because as you know, it generates a lot of jobs, factories start working, and a lot of people get benefits from construction. But of course, I think this is personal opinion, the government will start giving facilities for loans and access to financing for projects. But the other thing to analyze as well is who is going to buy from me. There's gotta be a demand, and of course, people that can purchase the properties. And of course, this is a work that has to be in teams in order for banks to give, for example, better interest rates, make properties more accessible in order in terms of prices. For example, I have seen a lot of new technology that is making construction cheaper, and it's making it more efficient, even more clean. So I think by time people will start to have more access for purchasing in the construction arena. So in those terms, here in Manta, I think that the city will continue to grow. Let's remember something: nothing is forever. And I was reading a little bit about the last pandemic that the humanity had. It was in the 1920s. It was the Spanish flu, or the gripe española, and in those times with no technology, not much of medicine, I think vaccines didn't exist yet. It lasted 2 years. So right now, I think I have all the confidence and all the faith that humanity will find a solution to this and things will go back on track. And of course, regarding expats, why do they choose Ecuador or Manta or Cuenca? Because of as Wendy was saying, because of all the beauties of the country, the biodiversity, all the beautiful things we have. And of course, let me give you an example. I have an aunt. She lives in Waltham, Massachusetts. She's retired. She receives on her pension $2,000 a month, but only her property taxes are $4,000 a year. So she has to sacrifice 2 months of pension just to pay her property taxes. So she's now planning on selling the house and coming to Ecuador to have a better quality life and live a dream, as we say here in Ecuador. Regarding the project that you mentioned, currently right now we are working on a building that is a 7th-floor building. It's called Monaco. It's located very strategically in Manta, because a lot of people were telling me, especially expats, they were saying, okay, I need a project, but I don't want to have a car. So take that off of me. I don't want to have to be driving or taking taxis. So we are in Lomas de Barbasquillo in front of the 𝐴𝐻𝐻𝐿 Hotel. And we have close up from here access for food. There's a private clinic that is being built, the 𝐂𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐵. There is the gastronomy area. There is the hotel area. So I think I'm positive that everything will go back on track and people will start, considering again purchase of properties. And of course, Ecuador will be on the radar. I don't think Ecuador will be affected because somebody was saying here, of course, that Ecuador has had some trouble, but of course there are places like Manta, which we're doing better than other cities. Guayaquil, we go through it. I am very faithful that Guayaquil will pass this, of course, and all humanity. So in my opinion, it's gonna be that. And regarding new consumers, they are asking now for a lot of health security. So I was seeing some ads in the internet that now a lot of businesses are trying to establish how can I make my business COVID free or free of all things that might be able to harm me. So if I can, as a business, if I can guarantee that to a consumer, I think it's going to be better. And of course, adapting to the new consumer that is getting created as of right now.
Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you. It has been a great information that we have received from you. And just let me run by Jason if we have any questions from the attendees. General questions, Jason?
Yeah, sure. Ricardo, question for you. Could you speak a little bit more in depth about the profile for a prospective client for Monaco? What type of individuals are you guys looking for? Investors, full-time residents, and maybe speak a little bit further about the strategies that you're going to implement post COVID to attract some of these potential clients.
Yes, well, it was it's a very open market, but of course, before the pandemic, even as of right now, most calls that we get are from Quito, because a lot of people from Quito is now considered Manta. Traditionally, the beach place for the people from Quito has been Esmeralda, but right now they are considering Manta because the road is better. Right now, it's not like it used to be. Manta is getting very beautiful, and of course, beaches near Manta like 𝐂𝐻𝐻 or like all the coast and the Ruta de Spondylus, and of course, Americans, Canadians, and Europeans. I have been working a lot with realtors like Ecuadorian Coastal Properties with Garrett Parker. They have been helping me a lot to get connected to Americans, and of course we made a sale for a lady that is an American. Of course, she seeing all the strengths of our project, and based on that, we are still developing the project. It's 80% finished. We still have 20% left, but I think before the end of the year, if the government allows it, we can be finishing the project and make a good presentation.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Jason, I think we have other questions there.
May I ask a question?
Yes. Of course.
Yes, Wendy, please go ahead.
I know that with our project, we are able to communicate with some of the thought and industry leaders, meaning people who are really internationally acclaimed in sustainability, design, and things like that. Many of them are eager to come down and even try using some of these newer materials that are kind of like recycled. But my understanding is any new materials will have to go through a lot of procedures in order to get approved. So, you know, it's one thing that would absolutely help Ecuador to leapfrog the competition if we are able to become very progressive and edgy and high tech, because they can build things cheaply and durably and also eco-friendly. So some of these things are not tapped into currently, but we can definitely, you know, create the bridge if we know who to ask. And I also wanted to know if, you know, for instance, the branding of Ecuador, because I know tourism is going to take a little while. And I said, you know, we really need to relaunch Ecuador. I would call it the 2.0. And I would even say, you know, we really need to give people a wow effect. So this is Ecuador. You know, people can't believe that this is Ecuador. That's what we need to do. And we have to sing in unison. And I can tell you that, you know, November 2018, there was a Netflix series called Chef's Table. And immediately all the foodies were asking me, where is this place? You know, am I psychic? You know, because it's also happening in Puerto Cayo. So a little kind of like a project like ours, and you know, with some exposure on the new channels and stuff like that. People are paying attention to poor little Puerto Cayo, and they said, "What is there?" And to my dismay, you know, a lot of people who wanted to come down were unable to come down because of the restriction of the flight. You know, there were parties of like 7, 8, 9, and by the time they're ready to book, the seats are sold out. And many of them also wanted to have a quick turnaround. And if we can have a Manta airport that's international, that would tremendously help our ability to bring more international people up to the coastal area. I don't believe that it is a zero-sum game. We're not going to take business away from Guayaquil and Quito. I think we're going to grow the pie bigger. There'll be more impulse coming down, and there'll be more people visiting. So those are some of the things that are completely out of our control, but you guys may have some channels and ways of, you know, getting the ears of the people who can make those decisions. Thank you.
I don't know if any of you will have an answer for that. But basically, well, I don't know if it's one of our attendees right now, but one developer on the coast, he's teaming with other developers, and they're basically putting a fund to promote the projects. Basically, Ecuador, what it needs right now, from my perspective, it is a PR person, which means that a person who needs to talk about what is happening in Ecuador, what is really happening, because we have been receiving news from some media, but basically they want to say all 2 weeks old news, which at some point is affecting us, but and probably 2 months, everyone will forget about it. But at least it is our work to do a great job, and having these developers here, and also having the support of the chambers of construction industry chamber, which is very, very important. So if I may, I would like to make a question to Leopoldo. You have listened here that there is an there's an expat population. Expat, it is a person who it is called mostly the person who is coming from North America or from Europe, and they're living in another country. So Ecuador has probably 7,500 expat population living here, which probably from my personal numbers, I might say 10% of them, they're coming here and they want to invest here in Ecuador. So as you as a leader in the construction business, do you have any recommendations for people who are seeking to come to Ecuador to invest? And please keep in mind that Ecuador, it has 5% exit tax, which it is hard sometimes for people who are trying to invest and then taking their money out. So could you please help us on what will be your advice as a leader in the construction industry? Jason, can you help me with this?
Yes. Leopoldo, ¿me escucha? Creo que están en mute. Pero bueno, la pregunta en sí es, como la mayoría de las personas que están asistiendo a esta charla son norteamericanos, y nosotros sabemos que hay una población aproximadamente de 7.500 norteamericanos que residen en el Ecuador. ¿Podría usted comentar o dar unas sugerencias sobre inversiones al futuro después de esta pandemia para la audiencia que tenemos hoy día? Está en mute, no se escucha.
De oportunidades. El Ecuador tiene mucho que ofrecer y el único defecto que tenemos es la falta de recursos, la falta de presupuesto. Ya lo ha hablado muy bien Wendy Chan, lo ha dicho también Ricardo, todo lo maravilloso que ellos han visto desde fuera, realmente hay sectores que sí podríamos considerarlo que nuestro país es un paraíso realmente. Lo que hay es que desarrollarlo. Sí.
Gracias. So, Leopoldo's response to the question is the following. He agrees with some of the previous comments that the other panelists have made. Ecuador is very resource rich, very biodiverse, and what Ecuador lacks as a nation is financing.
Todavía aquí hay mucho por hacer. Hay cómo desarrollar el sector turístico. La infraestructura está todavía bastante retrasada en torno a países desarrollados, el cual aquí la inversión extranjera es muy bienvenida. Lo que hay es que simplemente articular la mejor forma de invertir aquí. Y es por eso que hemos solicitado a las autoridades de nuestro país que se flexibilicen algunas normativas económicas que tenemos para que pueda venir la inversión extranjera. Somos conscientes de que el traer capitales de afuera hacia acá, los castigos son demasiado altos, y eso, como una primera premisa, es lo que hace que se detenga que mucha gente traiga capital a invertir en Ecuador.
Okay, so Leopoldo's comment regarding foreign investment is the following. Ecuador, as many of us know, lacks or is a little bit behind in infrastructure. And one way to combat infrastructure issues and deficiencies is to attract foreign investment. Unfortunately, the government in Ecuador, as Leopoldo mentioned, has not been very friendly to receiving financing from outside the country. They levy taxes on income coming in. Of course, the exit tax for money coming out of Ecuador also is a deterrent for potential investors. So Leopoldo believes that the government needs to be more flexible with these policies to be able to attract more foreign investment.
Hoy mismo, nosotros vemos que nuestra capacidad técnica y la mano de obra está a la altura de cualquier país del mundo. Esto nosotros podemos conjugar con toda la gente que quiera venir a acompañarnos y apoyarnos a invertir y podemos sacar unos buenos productos. Hoy incluso los materiales y los insumos del producto nacional ya está equiparándose al producto extranjero. Sigamos con eso.
Gracias. So the technical capacity and the labor in Ecuador, according to Leopoldo, is in line with any developed Western country. And there's a surplus of materials, there's opportunities to build, there's just, according to Leopoldo, a deficit in access to financing, as we spoke about. Siga, por favor.
Hay proyectos que están en el tapete y se les ve muy lejos. Hoy, incluso con el tema del COVID, se pusieron, si se quieren un término, inalcanzables, debido al tema presupuestario. Hay proyectos muy interesantes en Quito, donde yo vivo. Por ejemplo, hay algunos proyectos de túneles, la ampliación del metro ahora mismo. Lo que se hizo es hacer una primera etapa. Hay la proyección de hacer una segunda etapa del metro de Quito. Alguna serie de túneles para mejorar la movilidad del tráfico, el tránsito en la ciudad. El tema de un sector donde se quiere mover la antigua avenida 10 de agosto, que era una calle principal que abarca casi todo el norte y centro de la ciudad, pues ya se hizo un concurso para todo un mejoramiento turístico en pos de que el metro va a pasar muy cerca de allí. Pero eso incumbe ingentes recursos para poder viabilizarlo. Es ahí donde nosotros necesitamos muchísimo de poder conjugar con la inversión extranjera.
Okay, so Leopoldo is joining us today from Quito, and he has mentioned a few different projects that are lined up at the very least with the ability to be launched if there was an opportunity to access foreign financing. There are several tunnel projects within the city of Quito to be able to make the city more, the mobility around Quito more efficient. If those of you have visited Quito before, it's very narrow east to west and very long north to south. So it's difficult to get around the city effectively. So tunnels to improve the connectivity of the city to different areas. Also the metro project, which has been going for quite a few years. There's an initial phase that's currently under construction and plans for a second phase as well. And also a very famous avenue in Quito, which is called 10 de agosto, the 10th of August, which is in the northern center area of Quito. It borders the metro project, and there are plans to expand it and make it more of a boulevard, open to tourism once the metro is completed. All of these projects that Leopoldo has mentioned could use foreign financing.
Un tema que no quiero dejar de lado, que a nivel internacional tal vez es un punto negro para el país, es el tema de la corrupción. Y también creemos que ese es uno de los puntos que si se quisiera tener inversión extranjera, también tienen ese temor de ver que va a ser tal vez mal invertido su dinero. Nosotros tenemos algunas propuestas de que en el hecho de que decidan venir a invertir en esta tierra de oportunidades, pues existen, por ejemplo, los fideicomisos como un ejemplo de poder asegurar que esa inversión esté direccionada para el proyecto para el cual se plasmó. Sí hay caminos para viabilizar y hacer las cosas como se deben hacer. Habemos gente que estamos ávidas por trabajar bajo condiciones normales. Entonces, estamos empeñados en dar la vuelta, esa mala visión que tal vez poquísimos personajes de nuestro país nos ayudaron a ver hacia el exterior.
Muy bien. Okay, so Leopoldo also mentioned that there is a little bit of a stigma in Ecuador. Unfortunately, historically, there's been a lot of corruption in previous governments, previous administrations, current administrations, where funding has been misused and not allocated to the necessary projects. One way that Leopoldo's organization is combating this corruption is using financial entities to make sure that monies invested in the country are actually invested in the proper channels and the correct projects that they were destined for. Essentially, it's a watchdog entity that makes sure that corruption is not taking over the finances and
with a trust,
and the money is being used properly.
El tema que me preguntaba Juan Heredia, de cuándo se va a empezar a salir a trabajar el sector de la construcción. El COE nacional, que está dirigido básicamente por el presidente de la República y algunos ministros, es la única instancia donde analiza en base a los datos reales que ellos tienen, en base a dónde y es cómo está el comportamiento de la pandemia para autorizar el salir. De hecho, lo que se ha planteado es no sino un proyecto piloto, es decir, una prueba de que pocas obras bajo estrictos reglamentaciones que les hemos llamado protocolos cumplan en pos de preservar la salud de la gente, y es a las únicas que se les ha autorizado para que en base a esa experiencia empiece a abrir la puerta la autoridad para que empiece de a poco a abrirse al resto de sectores. Hoy mismo han autorizado, esto hablamos de obras en el sector privado, que ya iniciaron sus actividades, estas pocas obras como una prueba, iniciaron este lunes. En base a ese comportamiento van a abrir la puerta al resto de constructores. Y hoy mismo han autorizado a que todas las obras en el país, obras del sector público, en cambio, contratos con el sector público, que sean solamente en el tema de salud, están también autorizados a que inicien las actividades. Es decir, los contratos con el sector público que se refieran a terminar de construir los hospitales, dispensarios médicos, lo que conlleva al sector salud, solamente esos segmentos están hoy por hoy autorizados. El resto tendremos que esperar a ver cómo resulta este periodo de prueba.
Okay, so Juan, one of our panelists, asked Leopoldo for his thoughts about when the construction would be able to operate in Ecuador. And Leopoldo's thoughts are the following. Those that are able to make those decisions are, of course, the president, his elected ministers, and the folks that make up the 𝐂𝐲𝐒, the national 𝐂𝐲𝐒 coalition. They are making decisions based on real data and opening sectors of the country as they see fit. One good piece of news that Leopoldo shared is that construction projects that have to do with health entities, whether they be hospitals, medical dispensaries, or any construction project that has to do with public health, has been green lighted to start as of this week. So that's good news. And based on how well they're able to adhere to the sanitary protocols, we'll be able to determine, well, rather the national 𝐂𝐲𝐒 will be able to determine which construction projects will follow after.
Bien, hasta ahí dejo en consideración de ustedes. Estoy a las órdenes.
Thank you so much. I think we're very close to finish this presentation, but I would like to ask Wendy, could you please give us a final message on those foreign investors, people who are seeking to maybe come to Ecuador and find an opportunity and start building a nice project as we're doing right now, or one of the projects that Juan has in Cuenca, or Ricardo, one of the buildings in the city, or Montecristi Golf, one of the largest projects here. So what will be the message for those investors? They have an opportunity here in Ecuador, and also for the people who will like to from North America.
I couldn't hear you too well, but I figured that, in my opinion, I think we should aim at not just restoring what we were derailed on, but we need to reinvent, because it's so important for us to not just make whole of what was missing because of the pandemic, but use this opportunity to advance Ecuador to really a higher progressive advanced state. And I say this because sometimes it's really a matter of imagination. You know, when we are just dealing with the nitty-gritty of the, permits, all the things, we lose sight of how wonderful it can be. And I think aspiration is very, very important. It can be a driver. Think about it in Belize. I think, some years ago when director Francis Ford Coppola decided to move there, build a hotel, build a home, started a vineyard, it opened up a whole lot of people interested in going to Belize, from checking it out to buying properties. So it really needs something that can grab international attention. What we are doing here at Oceanside Farm is along that line, but we are only one small developer. We are investing our money into doing something that we are passionate about, but we need more wind behind the sail. We need more people to understand this can go very far, because without that, we are just making small incremental changes. And that's not exciting to outside people, because, then they have Costa Rica, they have Mexico, they have other choices. And, Ecuador is not competing with themselves. It's really competing for investor money from, people who are interested in in a lifestyle that you are capable of delivering. We cannot lose sight of that, because lifestyle and environment you cannot replace. You can build a Disneyland, you cannot build a rainforest. So I think we should value those pieces, the natural, treasures, and play that up and allow people to experience for themselves. I'm very excited that people that are coming to visit us come from different backgrounds and disciplines, and they are willing to share their knowledge, their expertise, their resources, their networking. So that's why I've been urging Marcos. I said, if we can rally the energy from these people who are interested in Ecuador, because we have so much to offer. It's nature. By the way, the planet is one planet. It's not a division of countries. The birds will not need to have a passport to go to Peru, So we all have to think about the planet. We are global citizens. How can we take better care of the planet? And how can we, by our choices, not just commercially make money out of it? Because there are some industries that are really the sunset industries. And, tuna, for one thing, there are more and more dangers for this to be extinct. So, there are different things that we can help fishermen find replacement money. And I know, for instance, people in the Pacific, not Pacific, Atlantic Northeast, they have grown kelp, seaweed, and harvesting seaweed, which is so much more easier, earth-friendly, and profitable, as well as nutritious. So there are solutions out there that we can share and guide how the transition from the traditional industries to the newer industries. For the life of me, I think, Ecuador's name is really equator, and you have so much sun, but there is very little solar energy. Why is that? We should really make better use of natural resources, especially those that are not going to hurt the environment, and really a conscious choice that will help protect the environment. For us, we are interested in integrating with the local people, helping them to have a better future, as well as finding ways for carbon offset, so that we feel that there is something we can all contribute for the betterment for a future generation.
Thank you, Wendy. And I want to thank to everyone who has made some time. I know you are very busy people, and especially Jason, with a lot of appreciation. I know you are donating your time with us. You believe in this country, so special thanks to Jason too. I want to make an announcement. We are going to have an international panel next week on Tuesday. We're going to have a U.S. attorney. He has been speaking for international forums for more than 25 years. He is the principal or the main attorney for Live and Invest overseas. I have shared with him in other international panels. So he will be speaking to us next Tuesday. Also will be 𝐂𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿. He is the main editor for Escape Artists. You probably know about Escape Artists. This is a blog. This is one of the big players out there in expat advisors. And also we will have one of our international investors here in Ecuador. He's from Canada, and his wife, they live in Ecuador. And we're going to have this international panel to give an idea of what is to be an expat right now for 2020. I don't want to say COVID-19 because, this is the new normal and we have to get used to that. But the new challenges for what is coming, 2020, 2021. And thank you all. And I hope to see you on Tuesday. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Have a nice afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.